The snow began falling just after sunset, soft at first, then thick and relentless, swallowing the roads and turning the world into a blur of white. Kareem tightened his grip on the steering wheel and glanced at the clock glowing on the dashboard. He needed to pick up his daughter from his sister's house within an hour. Storm or not, promises mattered. He had just turned onto the narrow mountain road when he noticed a dark sedan parked awkwardly on the shoulder, hazard lights blinking weakly through the storm. Normally, he would have driven past. Life as a single father had taught him to avoid unnecessary complications. But something made him slow down. Perhaps it was the way the driver's door opened suddenly, or the figure stepping out without a coat. Kareem pulled over. The woman who approached his truck looked completely out of place in the blizzard. She wore office heels already sinking into the snow, her hair dusted white by the wind. Her expression was tight, controlled, almost irritated rather than afraid. "My car won't start," she said, voice calm but clipped. "There's no signal. Could you give me a ride to the nearest town?" Kareem blinked. Then recognition hit him. "Ms. Rahman?" Her eyes widened slightly. "You work at the logistics office, don't you?" "Kareem?" He nodded, suddenly aware of the coffee stains on his jacket and the toys scattered on the passenger seat. She was the company's regional director, known for her strict policies, sharp meetings, and impossible deadlines. No one had ever seen her smile in the office. "Yes," he said. "Get in before you freeze." The storm worsened within minutes, reducing visibility to almost nothing. Kareem drove slowly, hands steady but tense. His boss sat quietly beside him, arms folded as if trying to maintain her usual authority even while stranded. "You didn't have to stop," she said after a long silence. "My daughter says helping people is what superheroes do," he replied. "I'm trying to keep my reputation." To his surprise, she gave a faint laugh. They had driven less than 10 kilometers when traffic came to a standstill. A fallen tree blocked the road ahead, and the line of cars wasn't moving. A highway patrol officer knocked on windows, informing drivers that clearing the road could take hours. Hours. Kareem's chest tightened. "I was supposed to pick up my daughter tonight." Ms. Rahman studied him for a moment. "Is there anywhere nearby we can wait?" A small roadside lodge stood about 200 meters away, its lights glowing faintly through the snow. They walked there together, fighting the wind, and stepped into a warm lobby that smelled of tea and old wood. The place was nearly full of stranded travelers, but the owner managed to find them a small sitting area near tea. For the first time, Kareem saw his boss without the armor of the office. She rubbed her hands together for warmth, her expression thoughtful rather than stern. "Do you raise your daughter alone?" she asked. "Yes. Her mother passed away 4 years ago." "I'm sorry." He shrugged gently. "You learn to keep going." They sat quietly for a while, watching snow gather against the windows. Someone handed out paper cups of hot tea. Outside, the storm howled, isolating everyone inside the lodge like strangers thrown together by fate. Ms. Rahman broke the silence. "I used to think employees who left early for family matters lacked commitment." She paused, staring into her cup. "I suppose I never really understood." Kareem smiled slightly. Deadlines feel different when someone is waiting at home asking if you'll make it to their school play. Her lips curved, not quite a smile, but something close. "I never had children. I thought success required certain sacrifices." "And do you still think that?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she asked, "What keeps you from quitting?" "The workload is heavy, and I know I haven't made things easy." Kareem thought about the long nights, the extra shifts, the exhaustion. Then he thought about stability, rent paid on time, his daughter's books and school fees. "Because stability matters," he said. "And because sometimes tough leaders make strong teams, even if we complain about them." This time she actually smiled, brief but genuine. Hours passed. The lodge grew quieter as travelers tried to sleep in chairs or on couches. Kareem finally reached his sister on a borrowed phone and confirmed his daughter was safe for the night. Relief washed over him, leaving behind a surprising sense of calm. Near midnight, Ms. Ramon spoke again, her voice softer than he had ever heard it. "You know, I almost didn't take this job years ago. I thought people wouldn't respect a woman who refused to be gentle all the time." She gave a small shrug. "So I chose to be strict. Efficient. Untouchable. And tonight?" Kareem asked. "Tonight I realized being untouchable also means being alone." The fire crackled between them, filling the silence with warmth. Morning arrived slowly, the storm easing into a quiet snowfall. Road crews cleared the fallen tree, and travelers began returning to their vehicles. Outside, sunlight reflected off the endless white landscape, almost blinding in its brightness. Before leaving, Ms. Ramon turned to Kareem. "Thank you for stopping last night. Most people wouldn't have. It wasn't a big thing." "It was." She hesitated. "Come to my office next week. I'd like to discuss a supervisory position opening. It offers more flexible hours." Kareem stared, surprised. "I didn't expect that." She met his eyes. "Neither did I." They drove back separately once her car was repaired, but something had shifted. The strict boss who once seemed distant now greeted employees with a softer tone. Policies changed gradually, allowing parents flexible scheduling during emergencies. Staff meetings felt less like interrogations and more like conversations. As for Kareem, the promotion allowed him to spend more evenings at home, helping with homework and bedtime stories instead of rushing through late-night reports. Sometimes, when snow began to fall, he remembered that long night at the roadside lodge and how a simple decision to stop his truck had quietly rewritten the direction of his life. And though neither of them ever spoke about it again in detail, both knew that the storm had done more than block a road. It had opened a door neither of them expected.